Hello again. Hi, this is Andrew Culkin. I'm the author of Amanda, A Cautionary Tale. And today I have a little bit different setting. I'm doing a little bit of traveling, and I'm in upstate New York right now. I'm on a night at a lake in Muskrat Bay, kind of a remote area. But today I want to talk about 5 ways to determine if you have become either a codependent or an enabler to an alcoholic. And first thing I want to say about enabling, people think it's a dirty word, or being codependent, but we're all human beings here and we're all interconnected. I just want to point out the role that you might have in the life of an alcoholic, either by being a parent, or by being a child to an alcoholic, or being married to one, being a spouse to an alcoholic. And they all have very different there's very different sides to those different relationships, and how you have to see yourself as a codependent. I just want to say it's okay to be a codependent, but you have to realize and understand your role in the life of an alcoholic, because even in the minutest way, we are all subtly responsible for each other, and we all can take a little bit of responsibility in how we either help the alcoholic or how we allow them to continue with their ways. And some of it is for self-preservation, but I'll get into that in a minute. But 5 ways, 5 key ways. There's more ways, but some of them are personal and some of them you'll be able to relate to. But now, number 1 way, and this is pretty common, is that you've purchased alcohol for your loved one, fully knowing you are placing them in harm's way, okay? And your decision has been determined to, to keep the peace, just to make, maybe you want your evening to be okay, to lessen the immediate drama that would surely follow if you didn't purchase alcohol for your loved one. Taking point, I remember sometimes Amanda, I'd come home from work and I just wanted to relax, and there wouldn't be any alcohol, there wouldn't be any access to alcohol in the house. And I might just break into my my liquor cabinet that had like 4 padlocks on it, and just give her something just so I could relax and just be left alone, because an alcoholic in their later in the later stages, their sole purpose is to get more alcohol, and they will be relentless and they will not leave you alone. That's a husband-wife relationship, but with a parent-child relationship, you can enable someone by, allowing them to stay in your house, providing them with money, providing them with a roof over their head, and that's even a more difficult thing as an enabler, to think of a parent as an enabler when you're really trying to help your child. But like I've said in this context and in other videos, is that you have to allow your children allow them to fail, because they're either going to sink or they're going to swim, and you have to let them find that out. They're either going to rise to the occasion when they realize that they have to provide for themselves, and they will rise to the occasion and they will grow up, and maybe they will determine that their addiction is not worth the hassle in their life, and that the best case scenario is that the alcoholic child determines that they need to take care of themselves, and they're able to come to the realization that it's up to them. That's the best case scenario. And as an enabler, if you stop enabling in that case, you're saving your child. You have to realize that. As difficult as that is to see your child struggle for a little bit, for a while, you have to give them that gift, and ultimately it is a gift. But that's number 1. You've purchased alcohol just to keep the peace, just to make your own life a little bit easier. Number 2, you've made excuses, or you've covered for your alcoholic loved one out of either a sense of loyalty or duty. Give you an example, going to a social event alone without your significant other. And this one really applies to husband and wife relationship, but you could say, oh, they're too sick or they're too tired. You know, the reality is they're passed out on the couch, or they're too drunk to even show up to a social event. Um, what happens is as a spouse, you'll find yourself alone a lot of the times. I mean, the last, I say 6, 7 years of my wife's life, I was alone a lot of the time. And I mean, I live in Southern California, and my parents were getting older, and every summer my son and I would fly to New York. And to be honest with you, I had to put my wife into a rehab facility every time I went, just to make sure she was safe, that she was in a safe place. And I had to go through these crazy steps just to take a couple weeks off and see my own family. But what I'm getting at is, you will come to the point where you will be alone in social events, and this will take place because the alcoholic can't even get it together for maybe holidays like Christmas or Easter or any family events, and you have to make excuses. And when you find yourself doing that, I just want you to understand that's normal, and to realize what's really going on there, or if they still have a job, if the alcoholic still has a job, you're covering them at work, explaining to their employee that they're, sick or unable to go, and these are steps that you're doing to actually enable them. I just want to identify that. Number 3, constantly making excuses for their lack of being at family functions. When in reality, they may be in rehab, they may be in jail, or they may just be on a drunken bender. This is kind of what I covered earlier, but just covering for them at social events. If they can't show up to their own family social events, you have a very, very real problem, and you need to identify it, and you need to sit the alcoholic down and say, this is not working for me anymore. Okay. A lot of what I'm talking about is really for the loved ones of the alcoholic, more than anything. How you identify your key role in the relationship with the alcoholic. The 4th one is continue, and this is a big one. This is really more for parent-child relationship, okay? Or even, in some cases, child-parent relationship. If the parent is an alcoholic and the child is an adult, or, has to be an adult. But continuing to accommodate an alcoholic loved one in several ways, like allowing them to stay in your home because they have no other place to go, giving them money when they have none, fully aware what the money is being used for. That's not good to do that for a length of time, and I just want to identify that. You have to realize your own actions and how you partake in all this process. Taking care of the alcoholic's whims, absorbing their drama into your life. The drama that the alcoholic creates is not your fault, and you shouldn't be consumed by it. You shouldn't be sucked into it too much, because you could go down with the ship. And like I've said in early videos, sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand, and you have to make that separation. Whether it's a husband and wife, whether it's whatever the relationship, if it's a parent-child relationship, sometimes you still have to draw a line in the sand, no matter what the relationship. And that's very important to save family members. Other things you might be doing, like bailing them out of jail, or paying for their tickets, or like my wife, she had DUIs. I'll give you an example. I mean, I had to pay for the tickets because I was married to her. But they were in her name, luckily. She had 4 DUIs. Near the end, she owned tens of thousands of dollars to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles in California, for her tickets. I mean, she was making monthly payments, or actually I was, of $250 a month. And it was like a car payment, and it would have gone on for 5 or 10 years. I actually had to go to after she passed away, I actually had to go to the court and bring her death certificate so that they could throw it all out, so I wouldn't have to pay these fines anymore. In fact, I have one story, it's in the book, but I mean, the police actually came to the house with a warrant about a week after she died, looking for her, and I didn't even have a death certificate, and I had to allow the people, I had to allow the police into the house, and they were looking for her, and I said, they had to do their job, but she had died the week before. I mean, these are some of the insane things that you have to go through when you're around a loved one. And these are, it's all part of the codependency. It's all part of the enabling. It's all part of how they exist in your life and the crazy things you have to go through. The fifth one, and this is very poignant, okay? Being a codependent in denial along with the alcoholic loved one. This is the one that is very difficult. Constantly telling yourself as the loved one that they don't really have a problem, and that they are actually a high functioning alcoholic. Maybe they're still able to maintain a job, and that that they're going to get better. That somehow they're going to get better, that they can maintain, that they're going to be okay. Even if they are an alcoholic, they're still going to be able to maintain their life. And the truth is, someone who's been drinking for a decade or 2 decades or longer, they're never going to get better, and they're only going to get worse, and it's only going to escalate until they ultimately do die. You have to understand that. Alcoholics don't get better. There's 2 choices. You either stop drinking 100% and never touch a drink again, or the alcoholism is going to kill you. That's it. And as a codependent, as a family member of a loved one, I want you to understand this message more than any other thing. An alcoholic is never going to get better. They're either going to stop or they're going to die. And they're going to live a short life. The average alcoholic, their life is short by 28 years. So the average alcoholic lives in their 50s, generally. Most alcoholics are dead before the age of 55 or 60, statistically. So they're not going to get any better. Don't hope that they will. Just make them stop. That's the only course of action that you can take. Now, the other thing is believing that an alcoholic can stop anytime they want. They can't. Certainly not by themselves. It takes rehabs, AA meetings, accountability partners, and work that for some alcoholics will last every day of their life. Some alcoholics have to go to AA meetings every single day of their life, and that's okay. That means staying sober is more important than dying. I hope these tips have helped. I hope you like the scenery. I do. Thanks for listening, if you've listened this far, and I hope this helps your family and ultimately helps you. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again.